Got it.
You know what I call that, don't you? Technology Viagra.
I won't go there. Well, we got back last night, and today we got a lot of stuff done this morning. I don't know if we got as much done tonight, but we got some things figured out on our ball screen defense and our ball screen offense. Sorry about that noise. The women's got some gizmo down there that's screwed up, but our whole motto on things right now is we just got to keep getting better every day. You can't take 2 steps forward, 1 step back. You know, the turnovers reared its ugly head early in that game yesterday. And yet, this team is finding ways to win, which is very impressive. You got to find ways to win. We made free throws. We did some things the other way. It's just that we did a poor job with the turnovers. And we thought a poor job on the ball screen defense. So those are things we worked on today. Hopefully we'll get better.
Are you getting better practices now that the holidays are over, or wasn't that a factor anyway?
Well, the problem with the holidays for us, we had guys with COVID. We had guys sick. We didn't have a holiday this year. We just had some days off. I looked at the days off we've had in the last month. There's been a lot more days off than on. And that's what I said. Normally over Christmas or over, usually we get out about the 12th. This year we went to what, the 15th, 16th, 17th, so we went longer. I guess that just falls the way it falls. And then, we get COVID on some guys. We have 5 guys back, or 7 guys back the first day, 8 the second day, plane problems. So we're not doing a very, good job of getting better in this period of time. So now that this week becomes important because we still don't have school, which means we're allowed to do some things, and we got to get better this week.
You're all healthy now, right?
We are all healthy now.
When you consider the things you talked about, like you never know who's out, who's missing who, and then you see, the way you guys, Northwestern played you guys, you see Ohio State get pushed to the limit last night in Nebraska. Do all those things kind of help with these guys to say, here's why you can't ever take anything for granted no matter who you're playing?
That's good in theory, probably bad in reality. If you can figure out what these guys think now with all the crap they hear every day on social media and everything, then you're a better man than me. I don't think I don't think there's enough respect for anything right now in our country. So it's hard to have players. I mean, we saw what happened in football and pro basketball. I mean, it's out of control. It's ridiculous. So I don't think, I don't know what they understand. I know this. I understand we're 12-2, one of the best starts we've had. And I think we have a high ceiling still to get. Whether we're going to get there is determined on how they handle all those things. But I don't feel good about it. Now, let me say this. I've answered a lot of questions earlier today about, they gave you a game. Well, first of all, I don't know where anybody's putting us, but we're not there yet. And second of all, I don't know where anybody's putting Northwestern, but to me, they're one of the better teams we played. I mean, they got a lot of players back on a good team, and they're very well coached. So people got to... We got to quit thinking of Northwestern 10 years ago and beyond and start thinking of the last 3-4 years. This is a team that is pretty good. So I still think that was a very good win for us. I just don't like the way we won it.
What did you see with Nebraska in that game against Ohio State?
Wow. I never saw so many people flying around, and it seems like, Fred does a great job with his offense. And then defensively, yeah, you get some shots, but you got to make those shots. So I just think they got some guards that can go, man, that can really score the ball, that are athletic, that can penetrate. He keeps it open. I was very impressed with them because Ohio State, I think, is a very good team. And, I mean, if you look at how it went, they make a free throw and the game's over. So, concerning.
From a coaching standpoint, with how in flux Nebraska has been maybe the last 3 or 4 years with their roster, does that make it challenging to prep every year when you don't necessarily have the same baseline?
Yeah, we've had new coaches, but now, like you say, there's a lot of new players in our league because everybody's transferring because it's the cool thing to do. So, they got a lot of different players, number one. But even within the year, they had kids out, they had kids hurt, they had kids with COVID. I mean, they play Michigan, they got a bunch of guys out, you know. I mean, that's what's hard to get a focus on is where are they and where are they according to when you play them. And I think that's the biggest chore that all of us have. They have it, we have it. Every team has it right now, and it makes it more difficult. So you add, everybody gets it. You know, some teams get 10 transfers. You get new coaches. You get the virus, and so people are sick. And I don't know if anybody knows who anybody has. That's why you really got to home in on your own team and make sure, principle-wise, you're doing the things you got to do to, no matter who you're playing.
That being said, what is Nebraska doing well? What impresses you about them here lately?
Well, they're scoring the ball. You know, they're scoring 75 points a game. That impresses me. I think they have a lot of good personnel, but some of that personnel hasn't been with them a lot of games. So when you say, what are they doing right now? Well, right now, according to last night, they played their butt off. You know, they gave, I think, one of the top 3 or 4 teams in our league all they wanted, and then some. So that was last night, you know, as far as what they've been doing. You try to judge them over a couple-week period. It's hard because there's been guys in and out of the lineup.
You talked about your team is it's found ways to win. That's kind of what it's shown. Is that seniors or veterans that kind of help the team be able to do that? What are kind of the factors?
Well, I think Mark played a lot better the second half. Not in practice today, but the second half. I thought Gabe is showing that, the second half of games, but there's 2 halves to games. We got to get better at that. I think our point guards are at least getting the ball to people in the right spot. And I thought defensively we clamped down a lot better in the second half, rebounded a lot better in the second half. So, finding ways to win is important. I mean, I look at our football team, they found ways to win a lot of games in the second half. We're kind of following in that suit. Hopefully we can follow it all the way, but I think the sooner we can put together 40 minutes instead of 20, better we'll be.
How much of that is...
Happy New Year. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, how much of that, usually you have a lot more games in December to kind of build toward that too. Does that make you add the importance to these early January games maybe that wasn't there?
Well, I think you bring up a really good point. I mean, the schedule, playing the 2 Big Ten games, everybody thinks is good, but then when you have finals, and it's just very difficult. Scheduling is very difficult right now, and I think we really got to take a serious look at it. But then when you have those long layoffs like that, to play 3 games in the number of days we played them in is really a shame. I don't know if it makes January any more important, because it is what it is. What's important to me is get some practice time in, because this is where I think we made hay over the last 10, 15 years, was over Christmas, and it's a little harder to get that in right now, to be honest with you.
It's over. So you got a game last night. Is it fun to come back to the gym and get right into another game first time?
It is, but you get back not real late last night, but a long trip, and today was okay. I think we're going to really do some film work tonight, and tomorrow's got to be a good day of practice, and then we play a home game against a team that I think is dangerous, very well coached, very dangerous.
Fun is the wrong word. I shouldn't use that word. I mean, is it constructive to get back?
Yeah, it's real constructive to get back at it. It's somewhat fun to get back at it, but the only thing missing right now is trying to finish. That's the word can we finish practice? Can we finish a game? Can we finish? Can we finish a half? Finishing things is getting harder, because I think there's this, everybody's worried about load management and this and that, Hell, we've had more time off in the last month than I've had in 3 years in this job, as far as for different reasons. So should be no problems with load management right now.
Happy New Year to you. I thought about it. I don't know your philosophy on polls. AP has you at 10. Are polls important, or is that only in March?
They were important at the beginning of the year when somebody told me that was the first time we were out of the top 25 at the start of the year since '98. because that's something I'm proud of with this team, and I say consistency is what you want to build for. But the polls really don't mean anything right now. We learned in football that there's a team that was playing for Final Four that wasn't even in the rankings early, and some there were, some there weren't. So I think it's the same in basketball right now. If you look at the top 25, that thing's all helter-skelter compared to what it was at the beginning of the year. But it is good to keep moving forward in the right direction, and moving forward means top 20, top 15, top 10, and that means you're doing all right. And I think, we deserve to be ranked, but I don't know how high, and I don't know who does and who doesn't. I just think there's a lot of teams out there right now that are very even. I don't see many teams that are far superior, nor do I see many teams that are way down. I mean, I look in our league, and it's, even last night, Ohio State did play without a couple of their key guys again, and Wisconsin's done it, and we know Illinois has done it, I don't know how many injuries Michigan has, but they're building with new guys. Some of those teams that were ranked 4th, 5th, 10th, 11th, they're still really good teams. They just got to find themselves yet. I still think at the end of the day, you're going to see our league, maybe it dropped off a little bit right now, but I think there's too many good teams in the league. It's going to be right up there at the end.
How about this? Top 10 in basketball and top 10 in football. Only two programs that are there right now.
That excites me. That really does. I think Mel and I talked about.
Did they get top 10 in football? Is that out yet?
Well, they can't go the wrong way.
Can't believe they'll be worse than that.
Yeah. They were already 10. So.
Sure.
Well, you never know.
Yeah. You never know about you writers, but or the coaches, I should say. But I think I do think that that's important to me. Hopefully to Mel. I know it is to Mel, hopefully Alan Haller, hopefully all the people around here. When you can get two programs, the major programs at that level, as you say, there's, Baylor, I guess, is probably there, and, Ohio State's been there before, and Florida's been there, where they won them, but it's not the norm. And I think it's a hell of an achievement, especially what we've come off the last 4 or 5 years. I think it shows you that we're heading in the right direction. I'm just happy to be here, to be part of the get back to the way it's supposed to be. And so it was important to me that Mel won that game. It's really important that we're winning right now, but we got a long way to go yet. We're still a work in progress, and I don't think there'll be any games that'll be upsets right now because we're not at that level yet. But if we keep grinding, maybe we can get to that level.
I know you've said 100 times you can only do what you can do, but how concerned are you that COVID could ravage this college basketball season still?
I'm concerned because I saw what I saw last year, and I'm concerned, but I unfortunately don't have a lot of control of it, and even when I do have some control, it seems like everybody's got their own ideas, and that's the way the world works. But I am worried about it. I'm worried about. I just had a good friend of mine, a former head coach, that lost his son. So I am concerned. But there's nothing we can do about it except what we've been doing. Our guys have been very diligent, trying to do the best job they can. And but in a couple of days, the students will be coming back, and who knows what that'll bring, but I'm going to just play with the cards I'm dealt, see where that takes us.
Hey Tom, speaking of football, I know a couple of guys were talking about coming over here after the season ended. Is that still part of the plans for them at all?
Yeah, to be honest with you, Mel and I were going to talk after they got back, and we got to see what's best for them first. By far, what's best for them. And then we'll look at what's best for us and the players, of course. But first, there'll be football and the players. It's not like anybody's going to come out here and start on our program right now. But in some ways, there's always some help that's needed when you got a lot of injuries or you got a lot of guys that could get sick. It's nice to have some guys that could step in, and especially in a scout team and this and that. But we'll see. Mel and I will probably talk in the next day or two. They needed a little time off, but it's no secret or nothing. It's just what's best for the football program and what's best for the players first.
Does being at 11 scholarship guys kind of affect that for you at all? I mean, like if it was a normal year and they had
I suppose a little bit, but it's not like we're at the point of time when you don't do as much at this point in time as you did like in the preseason. So I don't know. We talked to both kids. We recruited them. We talked to them during the year. They'd come over now and then, and both great kids, and yet they're both, I think, got real futures in football. We don't want to screw that up either. So it really will be between me and Mel, and then it'll be between Mel and the two players, and then it'll be between all of us. The cool thing is it'll be a family decision, and I'm just glad I'm part of that family.
Speaking of finishing, how did Tyson take it in terms of his finishing lesson yesterday? It looked like he already knew what the mistake was when you were talking to him.
Yeah, and I think he learned a good lesson too, that coaches don't have to get on players if they already know what they did wrong. And I was almost like he was more down than I was. But it was it was a tough game for him. He did not have a very good game, and right away homed up to it and understood it. And I thought I had a better practice today. So he's growing. I'm saying that on an 0-5 and a couple, mistakes. He's growing, and I like, him and AJ have been a good 1-2 punch, and AJ's getting better, and Tyson was getting better too, and I think that he'll continue to get better.
Where are you seeing that growth from AJ? He had that behind the back dribble turnover. It looked like he came right over to you afterwards. Like,
I know it. That's exactly right, and that's really all I ask. I think people see things wrong when they see a coach getting on a player. If a player makes a mistake and then wants to blame somebody else or blame the coach, there's going to be a problem. If a player makes a mistake and comes over and says, how could I do that? Then I got to be the other cop and say, hey, you know what? Just learn from it. It was a dumb mistake. We can't follow the guy, but it wasn't because you weren't trying to make a play or something. So you'd be surprised how many times we're on their side. The times we're not, you can bet it's been a problem that has been gone over and over and over and over again, and maybe they're not getting it.
Tom, the things that you didn't like yesterday, how much did you point to and just say, hey, these guys hadn't played together in a couple of days, and maybe by Wednesday with that time, we'll be back? Or were there some deeper things maybe that
I think
you
they were
thought more
deeper
than that?
because you got to remember most teams we play are in the same boat. And my motto is here, let's be different than everybody else. Let's not give in to the same things. Let's be different, And so I was just disappointed because I thought defensively we didn't do our job again in the first half, and we let those turnovers, just crazy ones. But do I think it's hard on these guys to practice, then not practice, then be off, then travel? And yeah, it's hard on them, man. This is not the norm. Worried about COVID, worried about their families, maybe worried about themselves. I don't know how you guys do it, but you sit in the house and you got a little sore throat because it's dry, or you're in a hotel. You're saying, oh man, do I have COVID? Or you get up in the morning, you got a little headache. Oh man, do I have, That's hard to deal with every day, and they got to deal with it, and so do I. But I think there's a lot of reasons that we didn't, but I hate to use excuses because other teams have the same problems.
Was it good? One more thing. Against High Point, you were upset about the defense, and it looked to me like it was specifically defensive awareness away from the ball, especially. Had some of that in the first half against Northwestern. Was it good to play a Northwestern team that can make you pay when you lack that defensive awareness to get those screws tightened even more?
Yeah, I think it is, but you're going to see in this game we're playing Wednesday, this is a team that I think can dribble drive you more than Northwestern did. So we got other problems now. But I think anytime you can win a game, make mistakes, and at least players understand it, accept it, then it's a positive for you. You should be able to move a couple steps forward. It's when they, don't understand that the mistakes they're making, or don't maybe accept it, that you got problems. I think last night after the game and today, they're very knowledgeable about what we didn't do. We went over some film and I think really helped us. And hopefully we'll grow from it now.